Hello, everyone. It's your favorite president, Donald J. Trump, here to introduce something really special. I think you're going to love it. My new Trump watches. We're doing quite a number with watches, and the quality to me is very important.
Oh
The Trump
God.
Victory Tourbillon. This isn't just any watch, it's one of the best watches made. It's a tourbillon watch with almost 200 grams of gold and more than 100 real
The goal
diamonds.
looks
That's a
fake.
lot of diamonds. I love gold. I love diamonds. We all do. Only 147 of these extraordinary watches will ever exist in the
I
world,
love
and owning
diamonds.
one puts you in a very exclusive club. I have watch number one, and I'm going to keep it. It's
Oh
mine,
my
and
God,
that's the way I want
hideous.
to have it. Each watch is numbered and extremely rare, a true collector's item, and it includes a personal letter signed by me. Get your Trump watch right now. Go to gettrumpwatches.com. It's Trump time.
Sweet holy God. Uh um, Listen, you may not be a watch person. You may have clicked on this video because it's about Trump or it's from Trump and you love Trump. I'm a watch guy. I know all about watches and let me do a little review. I don't have one of these in hand, of course, but I'll tell you whether this is worth your 100 grand or not. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's a funny one. So, as you know, our beloved Donald likes to sell things. I don't know why a multi-billionaire or whatever he's supposed to be needs to sell sneakers and Bibles. Who the hell sells Bibles? A real Christian would give away Bibles, especially a billionaire Christian. You will sell them. But anyway, don't get me started. As you may have already guessed, I'm not a huge fan of the man, but I know a lot of you guys are, and that's okay. When he released the sneakers, I have no interest in sneakers whatsoever, but now he's released a watch, and I do a lot of reviews on expensive watches. I have a solid gold watch on right here. This is a Rolex Submariner. Bluesy, as they call it, because it's got that blue dial bezel, and it's solid gold, just like Trump's watch, but a fair bit cheaper. Rather than 100 grand, this one's about 30, 35. Should you just get one of these and save your money, or is the Trump watch worth it? Let's take a look at the watch itself. Let's take it seriously, if I can do that. I thought that intro video was just hilarious, but I think the man is generally quite hilarious, so nothing new there. What he's saying here, tourbillon, the Trump victory tourbillon. What is a tourbillon? Well, most of the phrases, technical phrases in horology in the watch world are French words, which is why you don't say tourbillon, it's tourbillon. And what that means is you see the way it's an open face there. You can see into the movement. This is the escapement and a spring, and they spin around. It's a way to combat the forces of gravity from making your watch inaccurate. And it's considered a kind of an antiquated vintage kind of thing. Mechanical watches are never as accurate as your Apple Watch or your iPhone, but they're not really about that. They're mechanical, they're beautiful, they last forever, they don't require a battery. I will hand it to him here that the watches he seems to have released appear to be mechanical watches, which is a much more romantic kind of timepiece than just something digital. Although it looks like he has a cheaper one here. Let me check this one out. Pre-order. It's in 18 karat gold. There's no way for $799 that this is 18 karat gold. I assume it's just gold plated, which means it's pretty cheap stuff. Looks like on the back he's got his hand in the air, the fight, that first assassination attempt that grazed his ear, and he put his hand in the air and said fight. It's kind of an iconic moment, actually, an iconic photo, so I'll hand it to him there. Yeah, it says here the movement is automatic with date window. So that what automatic means is it winds itself automatically by moving, just natural movement of your wrist. If you leave it on your wrist, it's going to keep going. It's definitely not a quartz watch. as in a little battery in the watch. That's not considered very nice horology. So I'll hand it to him there. At least he's going for the real thing. Sapphire glass, that's the crystal. Over the dial is sapphire, which is scratch resistant, which is very nice. It's pretty typical for these kind of watches. 20 atmospheres of water resistance. That's 660 feet, which means you can do a little swimming with the watch and not have to worry as long as you have the crown down. 18 karat gold plated, yes. So that's the cheaper one. This is 42 millimeter watch. So it's pretty standard in size for a man's wrist. Let's go back to his expensive one, which is the Tourbillon. This one is 100,000 because it is real gold. It doesn't look it, I have to say. I know gold watches very well. I have one here on my wrist. And when you see the fake gold watches, this is what the gold looks like. So the photos aren't really helping here much at all. They left it open. It's an exhibition back. That's what we call that. So you can see the movement. It doesn't look like a particularly advanced movement, apart from the tourbillon thing, which is kind of cool. Definitely. He has fight, fight, fight written on the back. Oh boy. This is too much, man. As far as the watch, I think this is a very poorly designed watch. It's very, very basic. It looks like it was designed on a computer on one of these standard watch building sites. A lot of people who try to build watches kind of on the cheap, they can just go onto these websites and pick out these standard parts and just plonk a watch together without much imagination, roughly based on this watch design here, which is an iconic looking watch shape, the head shape and so on. And many, many watches, cheaper watches, have kind of aped its design over the decades, and this is no exception here. So the dial has very bland looking indices, straightforward hands there, nothing particularly interesting going on, and just Trump in the most basic font I've ever seen. Not even something a little glorious that you might see outside one of his buildings in New York or outside one of his casinos. I don't know where the hell they came up with this font here. It's really, really thrown together. They have decided to put diamonds all around the bezel. The bezel does look like it has grips, but I'm not sure what for because there's no markers on the bezel at all. So if it is a spinning bezel for timing things like you would have on a Submariner or any dive watches, there's nothing to time here because there is no, unless you feel in the mood of counting tiny little diamonds while you're at it. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. And the lugs here also are diamond studded. I can only assume these are all real diamonds, as he says, and this is 18 karat gold. You don't want 24 karat gold in a watch because it's beautiful, but it's far too soft. And a watch is supposed to be a little bit resilient. So 18 karat is definitely acceptable. That's what I have on my wrist right here. On a closer inspection here in this photo, that looks a little nicer. This photo is a bit more complementary to the gold tones. So that's a good thing. And the diamonds seem to be set correctly. I would have to see one in the flesh, of course. Obviously, it's very over the top, opulent and ostentatious, but that's Trump for you. These hands don't look finished correctly. They look a little rough on the edges of the hands. There isn't a seconds hand, but that's not really a problem. You do have the tourbillon spinning away there, which is quite cool. Usually tourbillon watches are quite expensive. Recently, the certain Chinese brands have been making them for maybe $3,000 or $4,000. But before that, a tourbillon was usually a highly specialized kind of mechanical watch. I assume this watch was not very expensive to put together other than the materials, the solid gold. And he's probably making a lot of profit. I think that's quite funny as well. Just the price, 100,000, not 98 or 95 or just 100 clean. Is it a good watch for your money? Listen, it comes down to, if you love Trump, you probably want this watch. I think there are way better watches you can get for $100,000 including watches that are full precious metal. But of course, they don't say Trump on the dial, do they? So maybe that's the main thing that you're interested in. The frequency is 3 hertz, so it's 21,600 beats per hour. That's pretty standard. Power reserve is 105 hours, so it'll keep ticking for a few days. If you leave it down on your nightstand or whatever, and it's not moving, it'll keep ticking over the weekend. And when you pick it up, it's still got accurate time, hopefully. The 19 jewels, what they mean there is not the jewels set around the bezel like the diamonds and so on. What they mean is the jewels within the movement, because they use rubies, particularly inside watch movements. It would be nice to know the thickness of the watch itself. I'm going to guess it's about 12 millimeters. Looks like it comes in rose gold also, and the yellow gold one comes with a black dial or a solid gold dial. I don't know which one is more hideous looking. I can't pick. Usually rose gold is very, very attractive. In that photo, it looks hideous. This one's also 100 grand. Oh boy. This is crazy, man. But listen, I guess if you're a Trump fan, everything you're seeing is beautiful, right? Limited to only 147 pieces. What is that? Because of being the 47th president? Is that what that is to do with? I don't know. I'm impressed by the fact that it's a mechanical watch and not a cheap quartz piece of garbage. That's kind of cool. It is a tourbillon, which is very interesting in the watch world. If this is your first watch you're ever buying and you're buying a gold tourbillon watch, you're really going to the end of the rainbow here. Tourbillons are very, very rare. I actually only have one myself, and it's not even like an expensive brand. The design is really, really bland, and the diamonds are kind of thrown on there in a kind of a crass way. I'm not impressed. If this was any other brand, for 100 grand for a solid gold tourbillon, I would absolutely shit on it. But I think that there's a different thing happening here. I think this is for people who are very, very in love with the former president and want to send him their money and want to be part of this Trump gold watch club. As he said there, he's keeping number 1 of 147. I think it's quite funny as well. He said, "Fight, fight, fight" on the back. And it's got his signature there in the crystal on the back. Looks like there's the tourbillon and the fighter. And the fighter, it appears it comes in stainless steel, then two-tone, and then solid. But that wouldn't be solid gold. That's just gold-plated. So this is for the cheaper end of things. This one is only $500 here, this hideous-looking red one. Oh, boy. At least they got a better font there. It's a bit more triumphant, right? I think that looks a bit better than the one on the tourbillon, personally. Let's see the specifications of that really quickly. Yeah, so this is also an automatic watch. All right. Okay, so he's not selling quartz garbage. At least that. I'll hand him that. If you only want to spend $500 or $800, you can get one of these. And if you have the 100 grand, you can get the tourbillon. I wouldn't recommend you do so, but hey, it's your money. Do whatever you want with it. That's my review, guys. Interesting stuff. Hey, keep about 70 grand and buy yourself a gold Rolex. I think that's a smarter thing to do. Thanks for watching, guys. Hilarious. If anybody buys one, can you please write to me at oisinomalleychannel.com or write it in the comments. I need to know if any of you guys bought one of these watches and how it wears. Thanks, guys. I will see you in the next one. Peace and love as always.